Hey there, in today's video I'm going to show you how I use my Sawgrass Creative Studio software. I'm going to grab an old file that I do need to print and press on, 100% cotton shirt. And most of you already know that sublimation, you cannot print on 100% cotton shirts, but there are several ways to accomplish that. My favorite one is a powder process, which I'm going to show you today. So I'm going to go ahead and log on to my Sawgrass software, and it's called, oh, it's not logged in. All right, let me log in really quick. Okay, I'm gonna launch it, and right now it's gonna ask me what blank design I want. I'm just gonna click next, and I'm looking for, I'm gonna do a letter size, US letter, 8.5 by 11. Next, it's always gonna be white. Sublimation, there is no white, so you can start with just a blank canvas, and I'm gonna be printing a vertical on, designing on a vertical image, 8.5 by 11. So I'm gonna start my designer. I'm gonna go to my designs, and I'm gonna pull an old image. This is a lot of stuff I've done since I've had this software for, I don't know, 3 years, I guess. Anyway, so it's perfect. If I would have added too much white, that would have literally, see that, cut into that. So you don't ever want to save an image with too much white up here. You know, it's not going to print, but still, if you cover that, that's exactly what's going to print. It's going to cut that ring side off. So I don't want the gloves too big, because this is going to be across the chest. So I want it maybe 5 inches. Right here it tells you it's 7 by 7 right now. I want it maybe 5 inches so that it doesn't look too big. It doesn't shrink this too much. So let's just say about 5 inches. Okay, so it's 5 inches square. Actually, this is going to be on an XL shirt. Let's say for an XL, this is an 8.5 by 11 print. Maybe we can do 7 inches. Let's go back to the 7 inches. Let's do 6.5. Up here on the left corner is telling me what the image size is. Okay, so here where you see the white, those are called bleed lines. You don't want to go over or you don't want your image in there, because it's going to cut off literally going to cut off your image. It's kind of a guideline not to go over. So let's do that. Put this as close to the top as possible. Do you see the bleed lines right here? You don't want your image or wording in there, and I want to make this as white as possible. I'm staying away from the bleed line. If you look up here, hopefully you can see it. So this is going to go on an XL shirt, just solid white. I kind of want to make this bigger, but I want this to be across the chest. I thought about doing this, making this heat transfer vinyl so that I can make it bigger, which I probably should, but it's 2 different processes, and for a freebie, you don't want to spend too much time on this process. I can make it wider to make it more pronounced. Again, I'm trying to avoid the bleed lines. If you want, please comment down below your thoughts. I'm just playing around with the, I think that would look okay. I already have one printed. It was my very first one, I think. I don't remember what happened, but somewhere along the line, I didn't place the image correctly. And when you're using powder for your pressing, your print and your press, you have to be really careful once you place it, because once you put it down, because it's powder that it's soaking up the ink, once you put it down, that's it. You have to leave it down or it's going to mess up your process. I think I want to leave it like that. I think that looks okay. Maybe shrink it just a little bit. Maybe let's make it 6 inches. I'm just trying to imagine what it will look like on an XL shirt. Normally I wouldn't put it that close, but again, we're working with a freebie right now, just for the guys just going to be using it for boxing, a boxing shirt. Okay, so let's say we want to center it. I'm going to highlight both, click on object, and align center. So I don't know if you notice it moved to the right, so it's aligned now. So okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to print it on Sublimation. The powder comes with its own paper from SEPS, and I'm going to show you that process now. Okay, I'm getting ready to print, but first I want to show you where I put my powder in this container. It's I don't know what size it is. It's a 1.5 gallon Rubbermaid container, and the reason I have it this big is because I want to be able to fit my paper like at the 11 inch by 17 inch is the longest. Either way, I want enough room to put the paper in there, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So for now, I'm going to pull they've updated their paper just so that people know which side to print on. This one has a line on it. I can probably cut that out. I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'll just cut that out if I don't need it, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and stick this in this is my Sawgrass SG800. Put it face down. Give me a second while I print the image. You do have to select which paper, and because it does not give you the option for SEPS in Virtuoso Creative Studio, I've been choosing the option of, I still select Unisub products, and for the paper, I just pick AccuPlot. I have no idea what that is, to be honest, but it works, and I keep it on high quality. Waiting for it to print. I don't need that much powder. This is going to be plenty. Usually it comes in a little baggie like that. I don't put it back. I just seal the lid really tightly, and I just leave it there until the next time I use it. You want to be really careful when you're handling the paper, because the ink is wet. If you touch it, you ruined the print. So do not touch the ink. Just be careful and just hang on to it with just grab the edges and avoid touching the ink. I learned the hard way. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, the ink is still wet. I'm gonna grab the paper and just slowly just move the powder in there. Grab the ends, and I'm just gonna kind of sway it back and forth. So there's one time, and then I do it one last time, and that's it. I just tap it just like that. I also have this silicone brush that I bought just to get any excess powder, because you will have to put it under your heat press for about 30 seconds to cure it. So I'm going to do that process now. Okay, for the temperature settings, they have to be 375 Fahrenheit, 30 seconds. Since it's fresh off the press, it's still wet, I'm going to use a piece of parchment paper because there is going to be powder in the back. And that's what the silicone brush was for. But I went ahead and used my hands just to get any excess out. And I'm just going to set it down. I'm waiting for the temperature to get to 375. Once I've reached that temperature, I'm going to just let it hover over the image and just let it cure for 30 seconds. And then from there, I'm going to show you the pressing process. I didn't mention you have to use moderate pressure, and it is for 30 seconds. Once you've done that, it's a cold peel, so you have to wait about 40 seconds before you remove the transfer. So I wanted to add that really quick before I forget. This shirt up here is a medium-sized shirt. This was the very first shirt I printed a while back. I mean, it's been a good, I don't know, maybe a couple years. I know you can't see it. I don't want to take the shirt off, but I have this as my sample for for showing people the sublimation to cotton process, which is this powder process. I somehow didn't place it correctly, and it's kind of off in some areas, but here it didn't pick up the ink, and that's why I decided to just keep this. I used a Sharpie just so it would look good for display. I don't know if you can see it, but you'll be able to see it once I show you that I used the Sharpie. You see the black mark? In case you didn't see it. I just did that because I wanted to keep it for show and tell, for sublimation to cotton. That's why I still have this. Plus it looks good. I mean, it's good to have shirts for your process for show and tell. That way people can see the different processes that you have. I would turn the camera, but I don't want to have to. I'm using the octopus one, and I won't have to readjust it. But eventually I'll show you all the shirts that I have hanging on the walls that I use as show and tell. The pressure is already at 362, which that's hot enough. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and cure my image. So again, it has to hover for about 30 seconds to let it cure. And all it's doing is just keeping the moisture. It's removing moisture, and it's also curing the ink with the powder. And you can feel it. You can feel it. It really just feels like heat transfer vinyl. Okay, that's about 30 seconds. I didn't really count. Wait about 5 more seconds. Okay. So it's, ouch, don't touch it. I wish I had a handle to do this. I'll bring it in close. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got like a velvety kind of look to it. I would say feel, but you can't feel it, but it's got a velvety look to it. And if you remember a little while ago, I mentioned that it had a little smudge or something on it. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. I don't want that to end up on my shirt, so I'm just going to cut it out. And I'm fixing to go ahead and take the moisture out of my t-shirt. I'm using white, of course. I'm gonna go ahead and trash this. I'm gonna go ahead and use my lint roller, just in case I have any powder on here. You still have to be careful not to touch the image. Same thing. Use the lint roller. Try not to move the camera because I have it sitting on top of my other heat press. I'm using a Hanes t-shirt. Try not to move the camera too much. Just gonna remove the moisture out of the t-shirt. My tripod broke. My big one, my 50-inch tripod, it broke. I got the pressure too hard. I'm gonna go ahead and find my center line. I'm gonna fold it in half vertically, just so I can create my center line for my image. And I do have this in one of my videos, how to find your center line. It has a kink in there and I'm trying to get it out. I don't like that. I like to get them as flat as possible. Okay, I did something wrong. Sorry, I know I'm off camera. Just trying to find my center line. Doesn't normally take this long. And also, when I'm trying to find my center line, the collar, when it's folded in half, you can feel the collar. I always put the collar off of the edge of the heat press, only because I don't want the collar imprinted on the other side of the shirt, if that makes any sense. Okay, that's good for now. Just gonna apply a little pressure. I'm not gonna close it, just to avoid the camera being so shaky. Okay, now you can't you can't bend it like you normally would. Heat transfer vinyl, you know how you pinch the top and the bottom? But you can't do it on these because, you know, you don't want to ruin the image because it's powder. So what I've been doing, there's my center line. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. There's my center line. And again, this is an XL shirt. Well, I'm going to do 4 inches. And I'm just going to put a little indentation with my nail. And I'm going to get the collar off the press or the platen. So what I do, because I know this is 8.5 by 11. I just find the 4.5 inch mark with my ruler or my tape measure. Normally what I do, and I do this way before time, I just get it like an X-Acto knife. You can't use a pen or marker, of course. You don't want that on your shirt. I just use either an X-Acto knife, or I just mark it with the scissors. I know it seems like a lot of different steps, but for me it's worth it. I'm just gonna make a little mark with my scissors. Again, the only reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to touch it. And I'm just gonna make little marks. And just to show you, my mark is right there. my scissor mark. So 4.5 inches, close enough. 4.5 inches. Actually, I'm a perfectionist. I don't want to be too off. Okay, so right there. Mark right there. 4.5 inches. I'm a little off to the right. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that's just me. Okay, and the reason you want to do this is because it's powder. Once you put it down, that's it. There's no turning back. But regardless, I still love this process because I'm able to print on 100 or any cotton blend shirt. Okay, so I've got my mark, and I'm going to line these up with the center line that I created. Okay, so once I find the center line, I just drop it very carefully. And I do use parchment paper for this. For sublimation, you do not want to use Teflon sheets because it will pick up any of the ink, and you will transfer that to your next substrate. So I always use parchment paper when I'm working with sublimation. Okay, so we're going to do 30 seconds, and then we have to wait 40 seconds before we can remove the transfer paper. So we have about 7 seconds left. If you want to share what process you use for sublimation, please drop that below just so we can share information. Maybe I can give you some tips if you have any questions. Please feel free to drop your questions down below. Okay, I have to wait 40 seconds. I'm not going to use this because it does pick up SEPS instructions. So I'm going to wait about 40 seconds. Okay, it's been 40 seconds. Again, it is cold peel. I hope you can see this. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. When it took off all the image. And here we go. I'm going to press it one more time just so I can remove these lines. This is it. And this is sublimation to cotton. Okay, I hope this video was helpful. Please feel free to ask questions. And I look forward to producing more videos for you. Thank you for watching. Until the next time.